Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be having Tim, Trollgasm. He's going to be doing the X-Files Resistor Serve. He's going to be running Hector percent, and I'm going to hand it over to him.
Okay, so just before we get started, I'm going to say this right now. This is a meme category. It is an inside joke within my little community of friends. And for those of you that are still awake for this run, I would absolutely love for you guys to, throughout this 13, 14 minute run, to spam the words blame Hector. Now, Hector is a boss in chapter 1 of this game, and the thing is, if you get a good Hector fight, generally later out down the track, you're going to lose your run to something stupid. And that's where the Hector percent meme comes from. So its time will start when I hit accept on Act 1. So 3, 2, 1, time. This game was released in 2004 and is actually technically canon. It goes between the second and third episode of Season 7. And was kind of like an add-on lost episode type thing. And it centers around... So Mulder and Scully are going to investigate this little town in Colorado called Red Falls, I believe. And they're under the impression that there's been some spooky witchcraft going on. But you find out that it's actually something extraterrestrial. And it's actually brought a lot of the townsfolk back from the dead. So right off the bat, in typical X-Files fashion, we're going to kill this police officer. And then we're going to book it. And so the idea of this category is we make it to Hector, and then time will end when we kill Hector. Because we don't like Hector. The game is it's like a Silent Hill, Resident Evil kind of clone. So you'll notice it's got the fixed camera sort of thing that Silent Hill and Resident Evil have. Unfortunately, though, it has analog tank controls, which makes some of the movement very, very difficult, especially when you maybe enter a zone a little different than normal, and the camera can just change completely. So what we've done, we've noticed that the light is on in one of these rooms, so we've picked up the key, and we're going to go see what's going on. And we find out that old mate has killed someone, and he's got their arm, and he's using it as a weapon. So we kind of just tank that hit because it's too slow to pull out the gun and kill him. But unfortunately, this game does not have iframes. So, and not only do you not have iframes, but the animations of the enemies hitting you is generally a little bit faster than your animation of getting hit. So sometimes, and you'll find out a little bit later on, you can actually get stun locked into oblivion. Okay, and so now we've worked out that, you know, some shit's gone down. So we're going to go to the police station and try and work out what's going on. And so we just got a few little enemies to dodge here. And the thing about this is we want to keep our lines as clean as possible. However, the enemy movement is not easily predictable. So sometimes you'll have to do a sneaky, swerve to try and get them out of the way. We're going to take a quick detour here and pick up a set of bolt cutters because it's a horror game and horror games need bolt cutters. Okay, and
the fact that the camera isn't fixed is kind of trippy. You expect it to be fixed, but it kind of moves.
Yes, it's fixed, but it's not some. Yeah, so it's like it's more Silent Hill than Resident Evil, but yeah. In bigger open areas, it's a lot more like Silent Hill, but in the closed-in spaces, it's like, which I don't think we see in this category are very much like Resident Evil. So it's very, very gross in some aspects. And so we're in here, we're going to be looking for the sheriff, and he's nowhere to be seen. But there's a prisoner in here, and his name is Chaco, and Chaco's been locked up here for a while, but he's sick and he needs his medication. So we're going to help old fella out, and we're going to go to his trailer. I'm going to get his medication for him. So a really cool part about this game is it's set up much like the original Resident Evil 2 in that you have a Mulder scenario and a Scully scenario, and both are very, very different. So Mulder's a lot more action heavy, whereas Scully's a bit more puzzle based and even includes autopsies, which is really sick. And very rarely do the two paths kind of meet up, and for the most part, with the exception of a couple of sections, it actually, in those parts, you're still doing very different things. So, for example, later on I'll be doing an autopsy while Mulder is defending you from zombies. The zombies are trying to gang up on you, and he's basically protecting you. And that's the roles for the scenarios. Very rarely is it like doing the same thing, which I think is a really cool way to approach the game. So there's a couple of zombies here, and we're going to just run past them this instance. And we're going to try and do that as cleanly as possible, because they can block you at the door. And this section here has some of the worst camera changes if you're not careful. And the hitboxes on things are actually quite large too, so you can sort of get caught on just those stairs, for example. You can be like nowhere near them and just get absolutely railed by it. Okay, so we've got the medication, and now we're going to leave. So that was alright, he jumped over us. Now, dogs in this game are absolutely atrocious. Like, you hear the joke between like Resident Evil runners where, oh, dogs are free. Like, the dogs in this are just so random that you cannot pick what they're doing. And we're going to try and get out of here as fast as we can without the dogs getting too close to us, but it looks like they're not playing nice today, which is going to make coming back to this area really, really frustrating. Because as
really just nipping a drink.
They were, yeah, they can do that. Sometimes they'll kind of just do nothing, but then you get the flip side where they're just all over you the whole time. So we're heading back to the police station. And we're going to go give Charco his medication. Load times are a thing in this game. There is a neat little thing you can do in this game, but I tend to not use it just because of movement speed. If you pull out your flashlight, I will demonstrate. If you pull out your flashlight, you can blind the enemies, and it gives you a little bit of a chance to run past. But Scully's movement is fastest with nothing out. If you have your gun out, she runs slower. If you have your flashlight out, she runs slower. If you have both the gun and the flashlight out, she won't run at all. She just walks. And it's like, it's minor time saves, but like it all adds up. Okay, and there's a bit of a commotion. What's going on here? Gonna pull out our gun. The sheriff has died. Mulder's just been attacked, and so we need to get him to the hospital. So the game actually, I've spent so long trying to cut out as much of this first chapter as possible, but the game is surprisingly well put together, and you can't skip this. You have to go to the hospital and do what's in the hospital, because things just don't, I suppose they're not active until you do X task. So yeah, it's just a bit of a straight run through here.
Probably Hector's fault.
It's absolutely Hector's fault. Everything that goes wrong in life is Hector's fault, like that. Enemies can just kind of grab you from really far away, and it's annoying, but you can fight them off. So this is, we're kind of just backtracking to that first area we went to after the motel. Okay, that's a alright placement. Sometimes their spawns are also random based on, I can't really say it's random there, but it's based on where you, like when you exited that area before, where their placement was is sort of roughly where they'll be when you enter back in. So if you get really bad RNG going in, and they're right on you, sometimes coming into that room can be a bit gross too.
So when you go back to that like trailer park type area,
those dogs are going to be right there waiting for us. Yep.
Sitting there, yeah.
And that's like when you want the best RNG, like you really sort of, yeah, see what I mean about the hitboxes and collision and stuff. It's a bit rubbish. Okay, so we're going to pull out our gun, and in here is a doctor, and he's going to be a zombie, so we're going to have to kill him. Now, for those of you who are a bit squeamish, it might be best to look away in this part, because we get to do our first of 3 autopsies in the game, which in Hector% we only get the 1, unfortunately. So you can't actually do
Trigger warning.
any trigger warning. You can't do anything until you put on the gloves or the goggles. The game won't let you pick up the scalpel until after that. And so if you hear the gunshots in the background, yep. Yeah, those gunshots in the background is Mulder. He's sort of fending off the zombies. And if we were doing Mulder's scenario, we would be doing that. And that's a time section while Scully's doing the autopsy. So we've just pulled out a sample of whatever was in old mate's stomach, and we're going to use that to create an antidote.
Wow, so you did a legit autopsy, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, and so the
Surgeon
code is
Simulator.
pretty simple. Surgeon Simulator, that's right, 2004 edition. Okay, Scully just for whatever reason knows how to cure zombie bites, so that's a thing. We administer the cure, that's all good, and then we're going to be like, alright, we need to try and not get slapped by zombies, because that's bad. Okay, so we're going to go back to the trailer park now, which is where I was talking about before with the dogs. They're going to be right on us, and hopefully Mulder... So Mulder's... It's not just Mulder. Partner AI in this game is a bit hit and miss sometimes. You can get runs where Mulder will be right on them, and he's just shooting everything that moves, and then you get other runs where he's just a bullet sponge and will die and cause you to lose runs. And the worst part about this game, in terms of speedrunning, is there's no checkpoints except for once you've finished a chapter. So, for example, this is about a 25-minute long chapter in a normal speedrun. If you die 23 minutes in, you got to restart. Actually, that wasn't too bad. They're kind of infighting, but getting pretty bad on me there. Okay, so I am going to kill this bloke, just because they can, again, block us on the door. Wait, is he not dead? Right. Is there a picker? No. So the game's usually pretty good about giving like ammo and stuff like that, and health as we need it. There is one more bloke. I will kill him just to be safe, because I don't want him to block the door or anything. I think there's health in here. So you'll see Scully's pantsuit is a bit ripped, and that's because we've taken so much damage. Like, the more damage you take, the more the clothing gets a bit tattered and stuff, and I'll sort of start bending over in pain. So Mulder leaves. We found like a key to Hector's garage, which means we're very close to the end of this run. All hail the White Tiger. So I'm going to pick up this just because the next part can be a bit gross too. And so what we're going to do now is, when we leave here, we're going to head to the post office. There's going to be a postie hanging around outside. We're going to kill him, pick up his key, and we're going to go through the post office. And so this is an instance where I will pull out my flashlight in hopes that it does as intended. Because these boys will gang up on you.
The camera's struggling to keep up with you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put that away. We're going to hopefully pick that up before we get hit. Yep, okay, that's good. And that's pretty decent positioning for when we want to leave. Because we'll sort of spawn roughly where old mate is, but he might be far enough behind us that it won't matter. In fact, now that I think about it, we're doing Hector %, so we won't see them ever again.
Good riddance.
Good riddance. So we're just going to run through here. There's a bloke there waiting for us, but he's usually not an issue until we come back through. Now we just got a bit of stretch of road here, where we're going to just kind of dodge enemies as much as we can, and that will take us to Hector's garage, which will be the final part of the run. And as stated before, time will end when Hector dies, which means the third time he gets hit with the car, spoilers, will be time. So this game has two categories, or two separate sort of. You got obviously Molder and Scully, but real hardware and emulator. I'm currently playing on real hardware. The reason the categories are split is because the load times on the emulator are so much faster. Nice movement, Tim. That it's like a 5-minute difference between like the world records.
That's tragic.
Yeah. Alright, so chat, if you haven't already, sorry to cut you off, Mod, if you haven't already, I would like everyone in chat to start spamming Blame Hector. This is it. This is what we all came to see. And so the boss fight here is literally, we want to hope for good Hector. It's 1. It's 2. We're not going to get a perfect Hector, so we're going to have to bait him. And time. And that is X-Files Resistor Serve, Hector %.
That was beautiful.
Yep. Bit of a meme, as I said. The full run is about an hour, 10 minutes. And it is a really good run, it's just very unoptimized. So if you feel like giving this one a go, feel free to pop into the Indie Horror Speedruns Discord, and we can do some routing and stuff. But yeah, that's it. I think nothing else I really need to say. So you guys can take it away when you're ready.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was Team Trollgasm again with the X-Files. Next up, we're going to have Drucifer Plays, and he's going to be doing Signalis, which is one I'm definitely excited for. So after this transmission, we'll get into it.